What's up guys, Rhen coming to you today with another 7 Deadly Sins Grand Cross video. Today we're going to talk about an issue that has kind of spread in PvP. Maybe it's going on a little less than it was a couple of weeks ago, but I still see people complaining about it, and that is sandbagging or deranking in the PvP system. So with that, let's get into it. Alright guys, so today we're going to do a little bit of a PvP video. This isn't going to be a guide or necessarily talking about team comps, but I wanted to talk about one of the issues that I see brought up a lot in chats, on the Discord, on the Reddit, and just in general discussion, which is potential exploitation of the ranking system for people to get more benefits than they really should. And the reason this is important is everybody's trying to increase their CC. Everybody's trying to increase their power level, and obviously you can only go so far with limit breaks and awakening. Once you're finished with that, really the only way to get stronger is with gear. And obviously with SSR gear, which is the best gear in the game right now, the only way to reroll the substat on your SSR is using anvils. I mean, if you want to replace a ring, for example, with a rare ring with an SSR ring, if you have less than a 10% substat rolls for attack, if that's what you're going for, you may be better off just sticking with your rare ring. So substats are really important. SSR gear is the best, but without those rolls, it's not always that much better, or even better at all, than rare or even common gear with godly super good rolls on it. So obviously anvils are really important. The way you get anvils right now, you can get a few from the guild boss each week, and then you can get some from PvP rewards from the coins. And so coins are very important for that reason. What there's been discussion of is are players dropping ranks intentionally in order to somehow gain more coins than the system really intended for them to gain. And so today we're going to look at the mechanics of what that exactly means, what it would look like. Is it a myth? Is it real? Are people really doing it? And if they are, is it helping them? Is it hurting others? So we're kind of just going to look at it a couple different ways. If you look at the rewards, the general incentive, so you can see I'm here in Champion 1 right now. The general incentive, obviously from the weekly reward perspective, is you want to have the highest rank that you can. Bigger number of points, better rank equals more coins. So more coins equals more anvils, which equals better gear and better power for your team. So in general, the incentive that the developers are trying to send is you should be trying to increase your rank. That probably seems pretty obvious to a lot of you guys, but there are some out there who think that there are some players, and I've seen some players intentionally keeping their rank lower because they think it's going to provide them an advantage. So for example, somebody who could get up to the champion ranks or the master's rank, intentionally, the term they use is deranking, down to say a platinum or even a gold level, because they believe they'll get more coins doing it that way. Now clearly 200 coins is less than 1,000 or 2,000 coins, so they're not doing it for the weekly rewards. The thought and what's being discussed, what everybody says, is that they're doing it to farm these coins. I want to give a shout out to one of my guild mates. Valgus is actually the guild leader of our guild, who is a super good PvP player, one of the top ranked players in the world on the global server. I talked to him about it a little bit. His view is that the top players are really not doing this. The top players are not intentionally deranking down to these gold ranks. They're typically staying in these higher ranks and getting these super good rewards every week. So what we're talking about is not necessarily what the top 50, top 100 people are doing, but there's some subset who may have been doing this, who maybe it was in the Masters, maybe in the Champions, and they've dropped down into the gold. So I've put together a couple of examples to look at, what does this really mean in terms of rank? How is this going to affect people? And why are they really doing this? So let's hop over to that. Alright, so we're going to talk about 3 hypothetical players. These players are all going to start at the same rank at the beginning of the week, which is 3,010 ranking points, which is just into the Masters tier. So if they end at that tier, they're going to get 1,000 coins for the weekly rewards. If they go up or down, they may get a different number of coins based on which tier they end up in. So player A that we're going to talk about is his strategy is just kind of the normal play type strategy. He's going to try to win every game. He's going to use coin food to maximize his coin benefits, and he's going to win about half his games because he's already at the ranking where he's kind of at an equilibrium. He's not going up, he's not going down, he's kind of just holding steady. Player B is the same skill and strength as player A, but player B chooses to intentionally derank in the first half of the week by losing games intentionally or forfeiting. The second half of the week, player B tries to climb back up to where he started in Masters in order to get that juicy Masters 1,000 coin reward. Player C is the same strength as player A and player B, but also tries to derank for the first half of the week, and instead of climbing back up to where he could get to in Masters, he stays down in the gold tier. Now for all these players, we're going to assume that each of them play 80 games in the week, and that each win results in a 15 ranking point gain, and each loss is a 15 ranking point decrease. I know not everybody plays 80 games a week, and that's okay. You know, you can take these principles and they still work even if people play a different number of games. The ranking points themselves, they don't always gain 15 and lose 15. It varies. Not 100% sure what it's based on. Some folks thought it was based on CC. It's not based on that. We've debunked that. It may be based on some kind of hidden matchmaking rating or ELO rating, that if your hidden rating is a lot higher than somebody else's, you may not get a lot of points for a win or vice versa. But I mean, we're just got to make some assumption for this analysis, and so we're going to assume that you win 15 points for a win and lose 15 points for a loss. So which player do you think is going to get the most coins at the end of the week? Well, guess what? I've got the answer for you. Alright, so let's jump into the examples. We talked about these 3 players. So player A is the guy who's not trying to game the system at all. This is the guy who tries to win every match. Remember, all these players are using coin food, so they're all using coin food, but they're still trying to win every match. And player A has reached the level where he's kind of at an equilibrium. So he wins about the same number of games as he loses. His rank doesn't really go up a whole lot, doesn't really go down a whole lot. He's kind of at where he's supposed to be based on how the ranking system works. So in this example, we're going to look at somebody who's in the Masters group. The starting rank at the beginning of the week is just over 3,000, and then he just wins and loses every other game. So if he plays 80 games in a week, he's going to have 40 wins and 40 losses. So with coin food, he's going to get 1 coin for every loss and 33 coins for every win. And so what you can see here, the black line shows how his rank would change over time, and you read that over here on the left. So he's just staying in the Masters group right above the 3,000 range. Down here, the dotted purple line shows how his coins would be accumulating over the course of these 80 games, and you read those numbers over here on the right. So he starts at 0. By the end of his 80 games, he's racked up maybe 1,300, 1,350 or so, and then this big jump at the end represents his weekly rewards. Because he's in the Masters rank at the end of the week, he's going to get that 1,000 coin bonus reward for his weekly rank. So this is kind of, I guess you could call it the base case. This is just a person who just kind of plays normal. They're not trying to do anything with their rank other than they're trying to win every game. So let's compare that to somebody who we'll call player B, who intentionally deranks at the beginning of the week. So they're starting out at the same 3,000. What did we say the first guy started? 30-25 after his win. So he started at 30-10. He lost his first game, and then he intentionally loses the next 40 games. So he's going to take a dive in terms of ratings all the way down through Platinum, all the way through all 5 ranks of Platinum, and then even into the top of the Gold ranking tier. So what does that mean for his coins? Well, obviously for these first 40 matches, he's only going to be getting 1 coin a match. So you can see down here his dashed purple line that shows how much coins he's accumulating. He's hardly getting any coins for those first 40 losses. Then we're going to make an assumption, and this isn't super realistic, but assume he can win every single game and climb all the way back up to Masters. Now, can anybody really win every single game, 40 games in a row? That's probably possible. Maybe he doesn't win every game, maybe he wins 90%. The idea here that people complain about is that there's somebody so much more powerful than all the opponents they're playing against that they can easily, just crush anybody. So that's why we're just assuming he wins either most or even all of their games, climbs all the way back up to Masters at the end of the week, and basically ends up kind of in the same place he started, but he's gone through quite a bit of ranking change over the course of the week. So where does that put him in terms of coins? Well, he only got 40 coins for the first half. Second half, he gets 33 coins for all of his wins, and then he ends up right at the bottom of Masters at the end of the week, and so that gives him the 1,000 coin weekly reward, and that puts him exactly at the same place as player A. So you can see in this example, intentionally deranking by losing 40 games in a row and then climbing back up by winning 40 games in a row is really not any different than if you had just won every other game and lost every other game. You're going to get the same amount of coins, you're going to end up with the same rank, and so I don't necessarily know why somebody would really choose to do this unless they I don't really know. I don't really know why anybody would choose to do that. Now, this may really not be what people are complaining about, because what I hear people complaining about is, I'm in gold 5 or I'm in gold 1, and this guy came in with 170 CC and he crushed me on Monday, and then I played him again on Friday, he was still in gold 5. What the heck, he's sandbagging. So if you look at how this particular strategy would work, this guy's not really lingering in the gold tier. He's going to be in there for a little bit, but then he's going to start climbing right back up. Now, is he underranked while he's in platinum? I would say he is. He could be kind of messing up people's games in platinum. He's definitely going to do it in gold. A few games. He's not going to be there a whole lot of games, but for a little bit he is. But this is not really the kind of strategy that would have somebody drop to gold and then just farm gold. So I don't think this is necessarily what people are complaining about. If it is what people are complaining about, nobody's getting any benefit by doing this. So if you're doing this, you gotta ask yourself why. Just why? Yeah, just why? Why would you do this? I just don't understand. Okay, let's look at player C. Player C, I think, is what I hear the complaints about. So player C starts out the same as B. He's going to intentionally derank for the first 40 games, but then instead of climbing back up to the Masters, which they could, they choose instead to stay down here in the gold rank, and I'm going to use the term quote-unquote farm coins. Now, this, when you examine it, doesn't really make any sense, because to stay in gold, you have to win and lose the same number of games. Or stated differently, if you win all your games in gold, guess what? You're not in gold anymore. That's the strategy B. Then you're going to climb back up to Masters. So to stay in gold and to not eventually rank up, you have to be losing 50% of your games. And this, I think, is the issue that people aren't really thinking about, is that if you see somebody in gold on Monday, and then you see him again in gold on Friday, and they're playing a bunch of games in between, and they're at roughly the same ranking they were on Monday and Friday, that means they lost half of their games. Just like everybody else who's ranking is in gold and is losing half their games. So it doesn't really matter that they're super powerful and they could get back up to Masters if they wanted, because they're staying down here in gold. And the rewards that they're going to get at the end of the week are the gold rewards, which are very small. They're going to lose all of the coins when they derank the first half of the week. They're only going to get wins half the games in the second half of the week. And so, in summary, this is a terrible freaking strategy. I don't know if people are actually doing this, but if they are, it's freaking dumb. I really don't understand. I mean, people maybe don't understand like how the coins works, or I am not really sure. All right, guys. So let's just kind of summarize these case studies. So player A, who won half his games, started in Masters, ended in Masters, played 80 games, he got 2,360 coins. Player B, who intentionally lost the first half of his games, the first 40, and then won the second half, the second 40, games 41 through 80, got back up to Masters, still won half his games, ended up at the same rank, so got the same weekly reward. So he ended up getting also 2,360 coins, exactly the same as player A. Player C, the one that I think everybody is complaining about on the forums, is the guy who could be in Masters, maybe even higher, who knows, but intentionally deranked down to gold by losing 40 games in a row, and then quote-unquote farmed coins in gold. Because he wanted to stay in gold, he also had to lose half his games, which means he lost the first 40, and then he lost half of the second 40 as well. So he had the lowest amount of wins. He only had 20 wins for the week compared to player A, who had 40, and player B, who also had 40. In addition, player C got only 920 coins compared to over 2,000 coins for player A and player B. So just to summarize my conclusion after looking at this, when people are complaining about, overpowered people farming in the gold tier, that's pretty crappy. I mean, anybody who does that clearly is not using the ranking system like it's meant to be used, and they're probably making the experience less pleasant for other players. Nobody is disagreeing with that. I think personally it's kind of a crappy thing to do. I don't do it. I don't recommend that anybody else would do it. But when you really look at the fact of how this turns out, when they do that, they're actually not gaining anything. In fact, they're hurting themselves. So I would say this, if you all know anyone who's doing this and using this strategy, please spread the word. This doesn't work. This doesn't work at all. And if you do this, you're really just going to hurt your own progress in the game. I think if we can spread this message, hopefully this isn't even something that needs to be enforced. If people understand how these numbers work, they wouldn't even really try to do it because it's just going to hurt themselves. So anyway, spread the word, and hopefully we can get the message out and people will stop trying to do this. In addition, you may also get banned for doing it. So on top of it being a terrible idea because the rewards are worse, you may also lose your account. And almost 100% of the people who get banned don't get very many coins each week. It's a little coin joke for you there. So guys, what do you think? Have you seen people doing this? And what league have you seen it in? And how do you feel about it? Do you feel this is fair as part of the gameplay, that people are dropping ranks? Or do you feel that this is really an exploitation of the ranking system? Let me know what you think in the comments down below. As always, appreciate you guys watching, and stay tuned for more cool content. So with that, I'll leave you guys with the rest of this clip of me trying not to get owned by this 175k CC team. Hope you enjoy.